Thank you so much for tuning on and be part of the DecideX today. And please, happy Easter, the resurrection Sunday of Jesus Christ, those who believe the story, and I'm part of you. My name is Frank Rubaduka, and it's my joy and honor to, share a great afternoon with you today while going through a very interesting topic. And together with me in the studio, I have an amazing guest, very good expert on the career guidance, and he's still young, and he will be more of an inspiration to the many, those who are in high school, those who are leaving high school, those who are yet to go back to the high school, I think this Sunday and tomorrow Monday, those who are joining university, those who are in the gap year, those who are finishing university and want to take masters, those who are struggling with whether they can start a new job or start a new business, those who are struggling and wondering, those who are in the crossover, I have a young man who is more, relatable, and so what he has done and what he will tell you to do will be much more relatable and very relevant to his story, and he's about to share us a testimony of how he's been going through the career guidance trajectory and how he's made it. So my name is Frank again, and my guest tonight is Pacifique. Pacifique, I admire you mostly, and you know that.
Thank you very much.
And you call yourself, and we call you a moving library.
Pretty much, yes.
And so tell us about a little bit about yourself, regardless of all the other things you do, but much more in concentration to the career guidance. Tell us about your journey into this and how you've built your mogul career into this.
Yeah, the career is not that great, maybe as it sounds, but so far, it's been close to 6 years when I'm into career guidance. When I finished school, look, I'm having challenges, even back when I was in high school, like 10 years ago, you'd really find one of the gaps that young people were having is, where should I go next? Mm-hmm. What journey should I pursue? Mm-hmm. So because I'd read that much when I was in high school, then even after high school, I kept reading, even up to today, which is still, I would say, which is still a culture. Mm. So what happened is I kept digging, even still, I'm still making researches. So that's how I tapped into the career guidance. And then
that's for 6 years, right?
Yeah, for 6 years, and professionally actually, and people have been paying me for that. So I've been advising people, individuals, even institutions, meaning schools, on how their students or individuals, let's say, for example, if you've done with high school, then you ask yourself, what should I do next? So there is I would call it, there is a consultation that I go through with you for a few hours, and then I can tell you, okay, try this. And
that means your customers, your client base is around parents, career guidance institutions and individuals.
And individuals, yes, individuals, because...
So where do you get much of your money from all the three?
Individuals, because when it comes to individuals, you're now giving something which is tailor-made. For the institution, let's say a school invites you to go and then give career guidance tips, you basically give a generic concept, of which is not that much. But to give someone a tailor-made career guidance which fits his personality,
you have to meet him in person.
So you have to meet him in person, and it's a journey of hours. So, and then you charge people per hour or according to the main issue is not how much you charge them, but it's to help them. So far, people are happy. So
yeah. Interesting, Pacifique. I'm very glad to be with you, and I know I follow your work day in and day out.
Yeah.
And always know that I'm at your back, and people really appreciating what you do.
Thank you.
When you say you've spent 6 years doing this as a professional career and commitment, somebody may think, oh, cool, this guy looks young. So how old were you when you started going deep into this and craft it as your career?
Yeah, I'm turning 27 years old this year, which technically means I'm 27. So I started when I was like 21. But before, even when I was in high school, we had like clubs and all these. So I was more informed than anybody. So I'm not saying.
So that what else do you do aside, apart from being a career guidance consultant? What else do you do that gives you much more of
income generation? So apart from the career guidance, I'm an advisor to so many companies. that are types, because I've been having a background when 2-3 years ago, so I was working in an innovation center where now so many young startups, entrepreneurs, especially in technology, would come in. So I was done with the job, so I decided to go and pursue the entrepreneurship career, and now, so I have a media production, I would call it not a media production, but it's a content production company. And then I'm advising even people that are doing businesses. So those are the main things that I get.
That sounds great. Yeah. So welcome to DecideX, and we're going to tap into the career guidance. Basically, you see, career guidance is it's an interesting topic that of which majority of the people don't really take it as it has already changed. Yep. They are still perceiving it as it used to be in the past.
I see.
Still using the concepts that were used in the 80s.
Yep.
And this is 21st century. This is a time where we are teaching and guiding career-wise millennials, of which the strategies, the approaches should be quite different. And the reason why I invited the Minister of Education or somebody else,
I pretty much maybe might be informed about career more than the Minister of Education. I'm not saying this to be arrogant, but the Minister maybe is in the office.
I don't know.
We're going to give, but it's not even debatable. If you would bring the Minister here, and then I'm here, I would have given out much information that the Minister could provide. Because
why are you saying that? What's the standpoint?
The sample I'm talking about, at the end of the show, maybe people will be informed on things that maybe the Minister can never tell them. And then the things that I've been doing, I really know what's happening on the ground. I really know what young people need. And myself, I'm young, so all these struggles and challenges, so I can really give practical advices more than even.
That's why I said I brought a relatable guest.
Yeah.
Why am I saying that? Because I know if I could bring any big title, big dog, top dog, I know it would be a great show. But the thing is, he used to study back in another, environment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Of which he doesn't know what are the really, trending requirements. He doesn't know about all these, new ways of learning. And for you, that's the tools you use.
Yeah, exactly.
And I wanted to invite a millennial expert to speak to the millennial juniors.
Yeah, they should thank you at the end of the show. Yeah.
So, and then I want you to tell me a little bit, why do you think anyway career guidance is that much important as education is important?
Okay, great. So the Stanford researchers in educational, especially there was a professor, I don't see recall the name, he's an educational psychology professor. So they made the research, and as a human being, before you die, these are the most 3 things that you spend most of your time in. 1 is education, 2, education, of which you spend so many years, like 6 years primary, 6 years high school, maybe 6 years university, and so many other things. So you spend so much time in that. There is education, there is the job, and then the person you marry. So all those 3 things are the things that you should consider that they take most of your time.
Is
school, job,
education,
and then marriage.
And then marriage.
Those are the most 3 things that you spend most of your time in. So when you're talking about education, so it's concerning career guidance. When you're talking about the job, whether you're employed somewhere, or you employ people as an entrepreneur, so you spend most of your time in that. So spending most of your time in those 3 aspects before you die, so it means career guidance, it's occupying those 2 components, of which means it's so crucial. And then
actually also marriage is also a career in a way.
It's a career in a way, exactly. So all those 3 things.
That means we spend our life in a career.
In a career, yeah. So it's as a student, it's a career you've decided to be, and then when you go in employment services, still it's another career. And then even when you get married, so you spend most of your time in those 3 things. So of which it's like, I would call it a vicious cycle. So that's why career guidance is so important, and anyone, whether a young person or parents planning to have children, should take it seriously. And that's why I say it's so crucial that it's taken seriously.
I've got another question.
Yes, please.
So I know there's this sort of Robert Kiyosaki, poor dad, rich dad, yes, that says my young boy go to school, get good grades, and work for government, drive a good car, and that's all I want from you. So I want you to tell me, do you think that song is still sung by the parents of today in regards to the career growth and all that?
It's still now a challenge actually. Now I think things are changing, trends are changing, and when you look into it's one of the advice that I always give people. If you really want to make it in life, you look at where the trends are, and then you adapt in relative to the trends. So now going to school, like in the 70s, the world really needed people to be employed, like it was an industrial age. But nowadays, yes, you could be employed by yourself, being given an entrepreneur. So of which it's another topic for another day, but talking about going to school, getting good grades, and then at the end of the day, get a job. But we've realized that even like you're an entrepreneur, if you hire people, you don't hire them by academic criteria, or academic qualifications, of which it's an advantage to have them, but it's not a prerequisite that much. So all people are looking into what have you done to the world, what is your past experience, like what value do you bring on the table.
It's much more of a portfolio than a CV.
Than a CV, yes. It's more of a portfolio. It's so if you could be young and your CV, rather than putting how much grades you got, you'd say I established I would say a club that managed how many people, and then these are the results that we got. I've been managed to expand it even in other schools, and maybe, you're talking something which is quantitative and qualitative. Not necessarily that, we've seen everybody has been to school, even those that are in school. Being in school and then you're the first one academically doesn't mean that when you graduate or when you finish school, you're going to be successful. It's not only something that is going to determine. But however, it's much better to have those academic qualifications and then you have experience. Yeah.
Interesting. So that means, why do you think that song of my young boy, go to school, get good grades, work for government, and you make me proud? Why do you think that story is still, a story in the education, a story in the families? Why do you think that chorus is still popular?
It's still popular because our parents, their parents, maybe they told them those songs, of which if they got lucky and then had their parents were educated. But now the thing is, the song is no longer that. Maybe I would say, I don't tell people to not go to school, make connections, know people, or you can qualify academically, and then find what works for you and then go for that. Normally, life is an experimental thing where you try so many things and then you double down on what works. It's not necessarily that, I think I should be a doctor. Then you major in related subjects, and then what if you don't become a doctor? You can have options.
Interesting. So now, let me ask you this question.
Yes.
I'm asking you as a graduate of this decade.
Yep.
And I'm asking you also as an entrepreneur of this decade.
Yes.
That means you are newly updated, and
yes.
And also I'm asking you because I know you've been part of a global network, and then here you can compare and contrast from Rwandan education to another country, let's say West and all that. So I want you to narrate a story of how you perceive the African education, the Rwandan education. What are those gaps that you see, you wish they can be away, taken away for the interests of the young brothers and young sisters?
Yes. So one of the gaps I'm talking, and maybe people think I'm joking, but I'm damn serious. It's when you look into schools, the setup of school itself, it's so sick. There is really a very big problem in schools. Me, if I was the principal of a school, I would ensure that maybe students are accessing the internet and are accessing maybe the laptops, the iPads and all these things. And then I wouldn't care much about the teacher or the food or whatever. But yes, I would care, those are the things that are necessary. But if you have a school and then you can access internet, and then students are using internet as much as they can, I think now the education system itself could improve without going into policies. So when you compare our education system to other East African countries, even itself, the Human Capital Index, there is a document that was recently published, that was last year by World Bank, co-authored by the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning. So Human Capital Index, that document is called The Future Drivers of Growth in Rwanda. So it's talking about how we are shortage of skilled people. Our human capital index is really, we are like on the 7th position, low.
The country of Rwanda, right?
The country of Rwanda.
In East Africa?
No, globally. We are the last 7, we are the 7th on the bottom.
Oh, that's
so. And then being the 7th, it means 5 countries that we beat are in war. So itself, you could understand that there is our education system. I wouldn't say it's problematic, but it's also
that means fair-wise we are the last.
Yeah, we are the last. If 5 countries are in the row, and then we are the 7th on the bottom, so it means we are the second last, or we are the last, or we are the last.
Yeah.
Pretty much nothing much is done, but. The thing is now...
and yet our dream is to have a knowledge-based economy.
A knowledge-based economy, which is challenging. How do we have a knowledge-based economy if people are not skilled enough to lead the knowledge-based economy? So now, good news is that when you look into the internet penetration and then how even
mobile coverage,
not only mobile, people have smartphones, there is a lot that you can do with that. So forget about the education system, don't bring excuses to the table. If you can access internet, if you're able to follow us on TV1 right now, so it means you have like 1,000 or million times ahead than someone who's in Somalia, or in South Sudan. So you have higher chances. So with the internet penetration, I think people using internet, they can be very far as much as concerned. So the education system itself is sick, numbers don't lie, it's just there. But now we are not going to be giving ourselves excuses that, okay, the education system is a problem, but if you're a student, you have a computer lab at your school, you can access internet on your holidays, you've got everything you need.
That means I can simply say that today's education is much more customized.
It's more customized. It means even if a teacher comes and tells you things that are not necessary, you don't have to listen to the teacher, you don't have to agree, but you could keep quiet in class, but when you go out in your free time, you could go revise the most trended topics that are, from the most recent researches. You can access them. There are those that are costly, there are those even you can access for free. There are so many free online courses, and at the end of the day, it's what you know, and then relating to the people you know. Once you're doing that, yes, the education system, I wouldn't rely that much on that, but as long as you access internet, you have a smartphone, your parents have a smartphone.
I was reading the report of the World Development under the World Bank Group. And this was early this year. That was in January. It was before the former president of the bank, of the World Bank, was resigning. But then the report was signed by the former president. And then the report was in brief saying this was his forward message. He was like, it is predicted that those kids who are in primary now will do a totally different jobs in the future, and actually in the next decade 65% of the jobs that are available today will be nowhere to be found.
That's a
and that's so interesting. So what kind of message do you tell the young men and women who are joining early education today, maybe let's say primary or senior one, and also in addition the same report said that skills are changing. The future career and the future labor will require much more, unconventional skills that are not yet already in the schools today. And those skills include, complex problem solving. They include computer technology know-how, and those skills include, teamwork and delegation. It all includes much more of emotional intelligence than logic. So with all those kind of new skills that are already predicted to be the right skills to apply in the future, and of which we don't have such skills already in our education systems, for you as a man who is always researching and doing much more of a study in the education of the future, much more, what's your message to the teachers, to the kids joining schools, to the parents still singing the same song of get good grades, work with the government, and you make me proud?
Yes, you always, what I always tell young people, in terms of skills, if you really don't have it, you don't need even to be an entrepreneur nowadays, because there are so many businesses that need services of the skill set that anybody could be having. So you could establish a business that is helping other existing business, so which is even a knowledge-based economy. You don't need to go to Gatuna, the border has closed, and trucks maybe are not coming in, but if you're skilled at something which is intangible in terms of a service, let's say problem-solving skills, you can solve complex mathematical issues to build algorithms that connect with computers or communicate with computers. It's something you can do literally when you're seated. Maybe the problem would be when the internet is shut down. But once we have internet, so the message I would tell the young people, it's look at the trends, be informed, like we have artificial intelligence. So the future, indeed.
Now we have humanoids.
We the artificial intelligence. So now, are you able now to provide data that the artificial intelligence systems will be using? So so the skills are changing. I'd give you an example. If someone is someone who is studying marketing, pretty much you're learning basic things that are used 20 years back, but now when you look into marketing, it's more of digital marketing, social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and all these. So things are changing, rules are changing, and then people should adapt. So when you're a young person, you have an advantage that if you can keep updated, it's more of knowing what's trending, and then you adapt to it with a long-term purpose. Because not only that, it said that for the things you learn for the 20 years, things that we know now right now, in the next 20 years they will be irrelevant by 80%.
In fact, there is a saying that says in every after decade, information becomes relevant, exactly. And new information comes in.
So yeah.
I have another question for you. Mm-hmm. I know you speak to so many high schools, and you speak to so many universities, and you speak to so many groups of young people, and much more of the time you're talking about career guidance and all this.
Yes.
I want you to, what do you think is the best career guidance advice you can give to your, young self, 16 years, 17 years old?
Okay, if I was 16, 18, 20, whatever age, but I'm still in school. So one of the things I always, but the best career I would tell it to myself is, choose 3 things that you're interested in. It could be 3 or 4, whatever. Be curious about them. Be curious about it means you have this burning desire to learn more, to dig deeper. For example, if you want to be a medical doctor. So at that age, there are different kind of doctorate in medicine. You could either specialize in the eye or the ear or whatever, or cardiologist.
Yes.
So the thing is, pick 3, 4 things, and each thing have the alternative of it. What if you don't become a cardiologist doctor? What could be something closer to that? And then dig deeper and then try to relate it with other things. Let's say if you cannot be, maybe if you don't manage to be a medical doctor, you can still be involved in medicine, you'll be a pharmacist. And then be curious about that field, dig deeper, and then start to learn from the global experts. People who have achieved, people who have experienced 40, 30 years more than you've got. Start learning from them, yeah. Getting online mentorship, it's more of, if I want to be a medical doctor and then I want to have a specialist in cardiology, what I would do is I would look into what are the top 20 cardiologists of the world. Go check what they write on their blogs. Be informed on what's trending. Be curious about the subject. It's not about the passion actually. It's more of what is your curiosity level. And then if that which you're curious about doesn't work out but you're informed in other things, the alternatives like a branch and then a sub-branch. So it's something I'll tell, and then try to experiment as many things. Because if you only stick to one thing, you say, okay, I want to be a doctor, and then you don't become a doctor, oh my God, you have like a heart attack. You're always that frustrated, and you're not really happy of what you're really doing. So, and so that's the best advice I'd give my younger self, to really follow 3 things, different actually. But again, anything that you're interested in, it's not even about a passion. It's more something that you're interested in and then relate it to technology. Being a doctor, there are so many apps that can help you get information from the patients and all that. So anything that you're curious about or you've decided to go into, please go into it, dig deeper, not only the surface ground. It's like you want to be a chef, you only know how to cook 2 meals. Be a specialist on African meals, maybe European and Asian, and then have few things that you could do that. And then you relate it even to technology. So anything that you're trying to do without using technology is not going to be scalable. You're relevant, yeah.
Interesting. So I have this question. You're talking about try many things, but also try many things involves very directly 2 things as well. Number 1 is mistakes. Number 2 is failing. So, and you see there's a way mistakes and failing are perceived in the education upbringing and as well parenting upbringing. So you seem to be, I've heard your story, you've had almost 17 companies registered and crushed down.
Yep.
Thus, all those things happen maybe because in a way you did some mistake, or in a way you completely failed. And you don't fail and you accept. Both.
Yeah.
But then you're still strong on the faith, you still have the guts and instincts to try more.
Yep.
That might be a gift you've got, maybe due to experience and all that. But then what's your message to the most conservative parents and most, fearful young men who don't want to them try this because they're gonna fail or this? So what's your perception about failing and mistakes while building a career?
Let me give you, I'm going to give you a fun example, but I hope people don't get me wrong. Always the first person you date when you're young is not the person you're going to marry. What does that mean? You date so many different girls, then at the end of the day, boom, you land on this one that you've been, maybe who fits your personality and who could align with what you're thinking, and boom, you get married. And ask anybody, except, obviously there is an exception to the rules. There are those who fall in love with people for the first time, and then they ended up getting married. But in between, there are so many mistakes, there are so many misunderstandings. But the higher chances is the lady you date for the first time when you're young is not the lady you're going to marry.
That's true.
It's good and bad news at the same time. So what does that mean? It means you're experimenting. You're experimenting and learning so many different things. So the same applies to career, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you want to be something. In between, it's so painful. You try so many things, you make mistakes, you learn, you keep moving, So being a conservative parent nowadays, it's really, I would say it reduces your children's chances of failing. When you fail and make mistakes, in the way, you reach to a level where you can make mistakes. It's just like, I wouldn't be that.
So let's be much more practical, and if needs be, let's cry in the studio by telling our stories. What is that story, maybe through all the entrepreneurships you've been, pursuing and all this, and also building your career? What is that, point? What is that, threshold level where usually you're like almost broken and feel like you can give up or you can even commit suicide? But then you realize later, after hearing from the story, you realize it's the same single point of turmoil that build your career that people are celebrating today.
Okay, great. So there was a time we had the company with some of my friends, and we are in charge of like distributing books in schools and areas. So what happened is we got much money depending on our age. So you know what happened? We parted. And at the end of the day, we realized that...
You went to the club?
Not in the club. We could travel. We enjoyed the money. So we swindled the money as much as possible. Then all of a sudden, when you wake up in the morning, money was nowhere to be seen. It was close to hundreds of million francs, young, like 23, 24, but we enjoyed the money, and then we failed at learning how do you distinguish the money from business and the money from yourself. So we thought it was that.
Topic.
So all of a sudden, when you've been having that much money, driving nice cars and all of that, in the morning, boom, you're broke. You feel like, where should I go? So that time, really, all of us, we had kind of, I would call it depression, because we misused the money. Then later on, we realized that we had nothing to lose. I was never committed to any girl that I've married or I have children to pay for. But obviously, you could have these responsibilities. But then later, I realized there is nothing you lose. It's more of experimenting. But now, if there is someone who would understand the value of money, it's me, it's my friends, of which that company was closed. But when we meet, we are laughing at ourselves, like, now, you understand the value of money and how to use it. So
now, whenever you run on the money, you remember the story?
I remember the story, and then I use it constructively. I remember that I need to pay people that I need to pay. I remember that I need to pay rent of the office, all these things. And then later on, even you find myself, I don't have money, but okay, but I've finished my financial dues, my financial responsibilities. So those times, like you spend 2-3 months like in the house, almost like crying, but you're like, if I show up, people laugh at me. They used to see me with money, but I don't have it. But then at the end of the day, man, when we were young, the good thing, we were so young, we never had like our families to support on our own. So you can make mistakes, and then all of a sudden you wake up and then move on. So if you're young, you've got nothing that much to lose. You could mess up one time, and then you move on. So there's really nothing like with, people mess up. Anyone.
So that means messing up in the career at an early age, it's a great opportunity.
The better, the earlier the better. We are on Easter. Guess what? Jesus Christ has resurrected today as a culture for the Christians. You know, when Jesus Christ started his career at 12 years, he was at the altar teaching people. They're like, young kid, what are you doing? But he had started at an early age. So starting at an early age always gives you a competitive edge, because I always tell people when I was like in my early 20s, but now because I'm in the late 20s, I'll tell them, even if I make a mistake, I mess up, which is even criminal, I go to prison for 10 years, I would come back and still make it.
That's true.
Because I'm young, I have nothing much to lose. But now if you're in your 30 and then you go to prison for the next 10 years and you're back, man, it's 10 years you've lost. That's so true. As you keep going older, if you're 18, then you're 21, age never comes back. And the energy you had like when you're in 20s, it's not the same as you could have in your 30s. So in your 30s, you're thinking of impact, maybe the person you're going to marry. Things are getting a little bit complex. But at another age, try so many things and then see what works, and then double down on that.
What are the top 3 things, top 3 experiments you've tested in your career growth that you feel like they were the turning points of your career? You know,
the turning points, yes, as I always tell you when we're not even here in the studio, I've had 17 companies, of which tremendously failed. We made so many mistakes. So I've learned how to deal with people, especially the person you're going to start a business with, because it's a person like you're going to
shareholders.
They are the shareholders. And in that you learn about people, their behavior, human psychology. I got interested in that. If there is something I can master, it's a human behavior. If I'm having an employee and I know the employee is messing up with me, I know it even before. And I can predict that. So the second thing, still it rotates towards that. I've tried so many things and I failed at so many things, which is I'm really good at that. And now, which even I would tell people, don't mess up here. You don't even, I'm not encouraging people to make mistakes when you're building your career or your entrepreneurial journey, but even why don't you learn from people who messed up so that you don't do what they did? Okay. It's also another way of learning, because there is no way you get promoted because of you've done so many mistakes.
That's true.
So you could minimize mistakes as young people by learning from the people who messed up.
That's true.
And you know, and when it comes, even what I would recommend, it's having mentors. And mentors, it's not this person who is so successful, like billionaires or successful people, like in the external world, intangible things. If you want to establish a business, for example, that involves the motor rides, go talk to someone who's been there for 10 years, ask them how it feels like, the common mistakes, learn from them. Even if they have failed and they're on the street doing nothing, but there is always an important lesson that they give it you. So always, a mentor, it's not something, it's not someone who you look up to, but it's something you learn what to do and even not what to do.
That's true.
Even you could learn from the crazy man on the street what not to do. You say, how did you get crazy this way? He's like, oh, I use much drugs and I would recommend you not to do so. So you're learning. You don't want to use drugs, and then when you're close to being mentally ill, and then you say, oh, I've learned from the mistakes. No. You don't want to go on that.
So let's come back to another practical thing. As you speak to so many high school students, those who come to your office and those who you go to their school and those who you meet on social media.
Yeah, sure.
Asking you questions. What are the top 3 worries that young kids have today in the high school, in the universities? What are those recurring questions?
Interesting question. He's like, I've got a job, how much money should I ask for?
So that's negotiation skill gap.
Yeah, exactly. Negotiation skill gap. I've got the job, how much should I request for? And then the thing is, people are following up the jobs, or they are going into careers that pay much money, like being a doctor, being an engineer, but at the end of the day, they don't pay that much money.
That's true.
And then, you know, it's more of the payment, which is negotiation, or which is they are like, I've got a job, what should I do? The second thing is they want to pursue the title, being a doctor, being an engineer, having a PhD as like their career. And you know what is an incentive? They're like, it gives much money.
Security.
The third one, it's people, actually young people literally have no idea on what they want to do. So those are the 3 concerns that they've got. So negotiations, security.
What do you answer them?
What I answer them is, if you're going for a job, you get paid in proportional to the value you bring to the marketplace.
Interesting.
So if you're getting paid 100,000 francs, it's because you bring value which is in relative to that.
So that means salary is very proportional to
the value you bring to the marketplace.
That's good.
So and if you complain, let's say you've landed a job in a bank, You maybe at an entry level, it's 180 francs. And then you could ask the CEO gets paid like 10 millions. You think, you know how many hours those people are spending in that industry? Because they have much more responsibility than you've got.
That's true.
So if you're interested at the money, one thing, it's good news to be interested at the money.
Sure.
Provide more value, solve bigger problems.
So do you mean going for a further degree, or
it's not a further degree, it's the value you bring to the marketplace. Assume, Frank, you have a business. I've understood your business, what you basically do. I come as a young person. I'm asking you, not to be arrogant, I'm like, Frank, if you teach me what you do, I can go maybe find clients. If I'm able to make you 3 million francs, you're a service-based business. And then can we split and you give me 1.3 million and then you remain with 1.7?
Yeah,
it's like for the money you're having, I'm going to add up 3 million, but what's my cake? So we are making a negotiation and I know my worth. If you're really able to bring value to the table and which is more, you're solving the bigger problems, people can pay you as much as they have. People are willing to help.
Interesting. That single point where you said, Frank, if I came to you as a young person and I say, I want to know what your service is doing and I want to help you and I want to take my cake from there, that gives me an employment seeking strategy.
Exactly.
And
rather than sending a CV, you think?
And a recruitment, a strategy. Now let me pose a question on that.
Yep.
In a way of supporting young kids.
Yep.
Who are finishing universities and high schools and looking for jobs. Well, I have so many guys who write me, want me to connect to the employers. Over 10 to 20 kids a week ask me, Frank, can you please connect us to the employers and to the potential employments? Well, I have a way I support them and I have the truth I tell them. But now I want to hear this from you. What do you think is the most trending strategy of running on a job, on a dream job, without sending a CV?
Without sending a CV. I'll give you an example.
And anyway, do you think sending a CV is still sexy?
Sending a CV, it's not still sexy, because at the end of the day, you gotta send a CV to people who know you, once they've asked it from you. But now, if you really want to land your dream job, in any company, anywhere, whether in the world or in Rwanda, go study about that company. Learn what it does. Look into the challenges they are facing. Be more informed than even people who are employed in the company. Go meet the boss. You say, I've realized, I've made the research. These are the top 3 challenges that you're having. If you're really accurate to the boss, you will say, okay, how did you find out? You say, I've been doing research for this. I know this is where you're having a weakness, and this is what I can do to improve your situation. I want to reduce the stress you're having. So in a way, if those young people, the next time if they want to write to you, I would say, Frank, I'm interested at this business. It does this. Do you know this person? Yes. Tell them that I've got a document which is 2-3 pager talking the challenges they're having and the solution that I can bring to get them. And all I want is, if I'm given a chance, I don't even need a job. If I'm given a chance to prove my worth, to solve those challenges, to bring more value to the company, then the boss can say, okay, you keep here or you don't keep here. So literally, it's so hard these days. It's, people give jobs to the people they are connected to. If I want to give a job, if I'm having an offer of a job, it's better that I call you and say, could you recommend me someone who's best at this? I've never made an announcement. Even I don't need a CV. And then when you give me 2-3 people, and then I can give them a real test, and then if I need their CV, I can ask it later. But the CV is not that much, but what value are you bringing to the table, to that company?
Last 1 week, I had a dinner to a family friend of mine, and they have a big hotel, and this person has been looking for an employee for the last almost 5 months, and he says, Frank, please, can you help me get a girl of this caliber? And then he explained. He says, actually, I don't care whether he has a bachelor degree or whatever, but these are skills I'm looking for. He says, I'm looking for a girl who is more trustworthy, who is loyal to the service. I'm looking for a girl who can be able to use computer, effectively. I'm looking for a girl who I can trust with all the resources of my hotel. And I'm looking for a girl who is much more creative and adaptive in a way that if he sits in a hotel, he'll be able to see where the gaps are and then can be able to fix them creatively and responsibly and with a stewardship mentality, not just waiting for my order and all this.
Yep.
And says, Frank, if you can get me this girl, I'll be really happy. Well, I sent a list of girls that I had in my network. Well, I'm here to wait for the response the guy, had from meeting these girls. But the whole bottom line was, it's clear that this person is not looking for a degree, just looking for a set of some, intangible skill set, like trustworthiness, loyalty,
You never learned that from
creativity,
school.
and all this. And these are things that teachers never give. So if I can ask you this question as we actually come to the end, do you have a story to tell of where that strategy of recruitment approach worked for you or worked for a friend?
Me as being recruiting or I recommending people how they can
Do you have a story where you jumped into a CEO's office, proposed him a proposal of how you can help add value to the company, and you were, let alone given a consultant's offer, or another person?
That's normally what happens. The same goes to what I've said. I study about companies, and then I see the missing gap.
Give me a story.
I'll give you a story. So there is Academic Bridge, which is a technology company. So they were hosted where I used to work. I was so much more interested about the company. So I realized these are the gaps that they're having. And then I approached the founder. I'm like, Christian, you see, these are the things that I think you should be doing. Because here are the trends in education, this is what is supposed to be done. And I don't see the part of the career guidance in your company, which is an educational company that is working with close to over 100 schools. I'm like, this is what I'm able to do. He's like, yeah, I've been thinking for this. I'm like, this is how I can do that. And then he's like, because it's something he knew he cannot do it by himself, then I was hired to do that job. I'm their consultant in terms of career guidance. We go to schools, parents send over kids, and he's connected me to so many people, and even that credibility. There is a lot of company. There is I've got another company which is called Nano Studio. It's basically co-working. I would call it's a family for digital creators, content creator for film and TV. I'm like the owner of the business. She's called Annette. Annette, these are the things that you're supposed to be doing. And she's like, oh, interesting. That's normally how I've been getting the job.
Yes. And
even the people, there is something that I'm going to do, of which even I was competing with other people. It's a consulting job with Google, and basically there are people who had master's degree and all these who are so academically qualified, but they never understood the concept of what Google is looking for. I told them I went, did make a case study. I'm like, these are the things, this is how I'll do that. And they are like, they never looked into the education thing. They don't care about education. They're like, okay, you're the person that you're looking for. So it's more of what are the problems are you solving?
So these days people want to see the story you've been able to create than the degree
and the story has to be relevant and quantified. It's not more about coming and put motivational speeches there to make the CEO better. His experience. Bring things tangible that are solving facts. And
we're coming to the end, Mr. Pacifique, and it was interesting hosting you. You're an amazing brain.
Thank you very much.
And tell me, what's the message you want to tell? High school students are going back to school and primaries as well. Yeah. I think right after the Easter Sunday, I think tomorrow is it's a new term. Day one.
Yes.
So what's the message? Tell them the inspirational message you can give them, the tips and all that.
Yeah, the message. But let me start with the young people.
1 minute.
Yes, the young people, please. Try the different things and then see where you have a competitive advantage. Normally having a competitive advantage, the career goes with your personality. So that's what I would say. Do something that best fits your personality. You normally focus on where you have strength.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. It was a pleasure being with you, and thank you for loving and following DecideX every Sunday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And I'm very much committed and very devoted to always bring the best brains for you. Very relatively, and I will always do that for you. So please, as we come to the end of this show, focus on your career guidance, grow your network into the career, try so many mistakes as soon as you're still young, and because soon you get old, and then you'll be so much skeptical to try anything new. So as you're still young, still in high school, starting university, in a gap year, try as many mistakes and try as many careers as you can. Pick 3 like Mr. Pacifique said, and try and see what works out for you and keep to that. But my message to you, today's recruitment doesn't look at your CV, they look at what you can be able to do in reference to what you have been able to do. They want to see your story, the facts-based story, than just the degree you have. We all know the techniques that happen in the schools, the way you can get marks, but they want to know what have you been able to do. So work on your skill sets, develop your personality, and relate what you want to study with the personality you have, with the persona inside of you. Frank will always be your career guidance coach, and I always recommend you to so many coaches around the country. Thank you so much for following us. We love you. Enjoy your Easter today.